Hi, I just want to give a quick video of my quick video review of my 2016 Pivot Mach 4 Carbon. Uh, this bike replaces a Giant Anthem Advanced Carbon. I got this bike in the large versus the medium and the Giant. In terms of what is carbon on this bike, you have the front triangle, the rear swing arm, and the handlebars. Those are carbon fiber. Compared to the Giant, I believe it was just the front triangle that was carbon, for at least for the 2014. The rear triangle was aluminum. Anyway, what drew me to go after the 2016 versus 2015 version of this bike is essentially the suspension equipment. Fox switched from their CTD, climb trail descent setup, where you would find a fine-tune adjustment at the trail setting, to the open medium firm setup, where the fine-tune adjust for the shock and the fork is in the open setting. And you can really tell the difference as you start to increase the dampening factor in the open position. It feels really good. Also, in terms of technology, the 34, which I don't believe did so well in terms of review last year, this year it inherits the internals of the Fox Float 36, which I've read did pretty well, and as far as I'm concerned, rides wonderfully well. So you have the internals of a Fox Float 36, but in a 34mm stanchion setup. Also, through some weight savings and replacing of coil springs internal for bump stops with air springs, this shock, that 34mm stanchion Fox Float 34, weighs as much as last year's Fox Float 32 in the same configuration, which is kind of cool. The rear shock here is what they call their dual piston system for 2016. Essentially, there is a one piston setup for open medium and another piston for the firm setting. As much as I know, I did notice that the amount of air pressure that you have to put in this shock versus last year's, the 2015 shock, is a little bit lower for the same effect, which is interesting. It also feels a little bit more plush. I'll do a quick shout out to Pivot on this one, because when I first got this bike, they were just switching to 2016 stuff, and as a result, they accidentally put a 2015 rear shock on this bike. I happened to notice it from the 290, which now refers to their 2016 open medium firm setup, as opposed to 2015 CTD. But Garrison Cycles in Delaware, they were really good about it. They sent a quick note out to the rep, and the rep sent a quick note out to the factory, and here we are with a replaced shock. Also, Shimano changed the style of their cranks and whatnot for their XT Group O for 2016, which is cool, which includes also a side swing front derailleur that's XT. This build is called the XTR Pro 2x build from Pivot. And so you have front cranks XT, the front derailleur's XT, the crank is XT. The rear cog set, it's 11 speed. The rear derailleur is XTR. That's different. Of course, the brakes are XT, rear and front, dual piston. What comes stock on this bike is 160mm discs. I opted at the dealer for 180mm disc up front, just for a little bit more of a safety blanket. Also, what's optioned from Pivot is a KS Lev Integra dropper post for 125mm drop, 125mm drop. That works very well. I enjoy that a lot for technical descents. I think I mentioned already, but the handlebars are carbon fiber. The riser, in the middle there, that is, of course, aluminum. I opted to swap out the headset spacers for something a little bit more carbon fibric. I thought it's cool. What else can I tell you about this bike? Of course, it's a 27.5 wheel setup. I opted for tubeless. These rims are DT Swiss X1700 tubeless ready straight out the box, so I said go for it. And I will not be going back. These are I run at 30 pounds in the back, and 28 pounds in the front. I think my maximum jump and drop is about 2 feet off the ground, and I weigh 195 pounds, so that all works out very nicely for not bottoming out the tire on the rim. What else can I tell you about this bike? I transferred my Candy 3 pedals, which are fully ball bearinged out, from my Giant Anthem to this bike, and they're really smooth. I love those pedals. They do a wonderful job of shedding mud. Let's see. This bike right now weighs as it is here at 26.5 pounds. If I wanted to save some weight, I could opt for lighter pedals and an alternate saddle with maybe titanium rails as opposed to chromoly. That's a WTB saddle. It's very comfortable. And I think that is about it. I think I covered all the points. Open medium firm shocks, updated styling on the XT and XTR CrMo stuff. It's a 2x11. And I think I did mention 120 millimeter travel in the front, 115 in the rear. If I wanted to, I could increase the travel on the front shock up to, I think it's 150 or 160 millimeters in 10 millimeter increments. Of course, you have to have it serviced and dismantled and readjusted for that. But I like it the way it is. If I was doing a little bit more downhilling, a little bit more aggressive stuff, I might opt for that, but I don't think I will. Let's see if I can give you a shot of what the pivots look like on the other side of the bike. If you haven't seen these up close, they're really cool. But I think that's about it for this this setup. If you have any questions, please leave me some comments or questions, and I'll be glad to answer make a follow-up video answering any questions you may have. But my goodness, it's been a great ride. I have about 100 miles in this thing and don't regret. Mind you, it's not the cheapest bike on the block, but it definitely fits the bill. Anyway, that's my quick video of the 2016 Pivot Mach 4 Carbon 27.5 bike. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please leave comments, and I'll be glad to create a follow-up video if there's any questions. Take care.